I had already done 5 fouls and I had 1 more jump to go, and I actually managed to do the best jump so far in the competition. I took home the first place, and the reason why I could do that actually had a lot to do with me practicing mindfulness. Hello my friends, welcome back to Awake Athlete. Finally I can talk to you guys again. It's been fires here in Valencia, and that means that it's like fireworks 24/7. So it's a little bit hard to record a video. But now, finally, I'm here with you guys, and I'm so excited every week to talk to you guys about things that I'm very passionate about. And today, I'm going to talk about mindfulness and meditation and why that is so beneficial for athletes. In my last video where I shared some things with you guys that has helped me to overcome performance anxiety, I told you that personal development and spirituality is a big part of my life. And one thing that has become a huge part of my life along with this is mindfulness and meditation, which today is included in my daily routines. Mindfulness can be anything that has to do with being present and focused and observant in the moment, in the now. Whether it is being present with your thoughts or with your breath or with the thing that you're currently doing. I used to meditate 5 to 10 minutes every morning and every night before I go to bed with different intentions. Most of the times it's just me practicing being present in my own body and calming my mind and my thoughts. And I don't even know where to begin to tell you how many positive effects it has on me. It helps me to be more calm, more grounded in myself. It helps me to be more present in my daily life and to remember to be thankful and grateful for what I have in front of me. Whether it is a conversation with another person or a task that I'm doing, or to just be able to appreciate the sun and the nature around me. So it helps me to be present in a moment instead of always being in my head thinking about the past or about the future, because that is what most of our stress is coming from. Either we obsess about the past, what we could have done differently or what could have happened, or we worry about the future. And this is things that we have no control over anyways. And when I don't do my daily meditation routines, I feel a big difference in general. I can feel my mind wander off and spinning away more easily. I can feel myself not being able to be present or calm myself down. And if I get upset over things, I can feel that feeling staying with me longer. So mindfulness and meditation is good for our mental and physical health for many obvious reasons. But why is it so good for me as an athlete? Here is why. Our bodies is always speaking to us, and when I learned to be more present and mindful with myself, I learned how to listen to my body more. And then I started to be able to be more aware of all the sensations in my body. Maybe I felt tired, or if I have pain somewhere, or what kind of emotions I have in my body that is presenting itself in some physical sensation. For example, anxiety for me, I feel a lot in my chest. It feels like it's a pressure on my chest. Or if I feel happy, I feel tingling in my body and I feel very light and at ease. And when I'm more mindful and present in my body, I'm able to feel if my body is tired and maybe need an extra day of rest from practice, or when it's okay to push through. And it's easy to think that all of our thoughts is true. But the reality is that we think like 60, 70,000 thoughts each day. All of them can't be true, and all of them can't be that important. And knowing this difference will prevent me from injuries and illness. Because if we are always disconnected from our bodies, always being in our head, we won't be able to feel what our bodies is trying to tell us. When we practice mindfulness, we will be able to be more observant about everything that is going on in our bodies. And in that way, we may be able to catch those small sensations in an early stage that may be an indication of injuries, for example. And instead of pushing through, not listening to our bodies, and in the end needing to take maybe a week off our practice, we listen to our bodies in an early stage, and maybe just need 1 day of extra rest, and then we're good to go. The second way that mindfulness is helping me as an athlete is that it helps me to not let those critical and anxious thoughts taking over during practice and competition. I would say that since I started to really take care of my mental health, those critical thoughts come less, but they still come, which is normal. We're only humans. Sometimes they're just somewhere in the back of my head, but other times they come in a full armed force, But instead of letting them take over, which leads to me clenching up and not being able to perform and do my best, which was the thing that happened in the past. When these thoughts came, I had no tools of how to handle these thoughts. But today, when I'm more mindful and observant with my thoughts, I can instead let them pass and come back to my body. And maybe I need to do this over and over and over again. Many times it is like that. It's a constant conversation in my head. Thoughts come and I say to them, no, go, and they come, and I let them go, and they come. So always like coming back to my body, coming back to my body. And when we are able to let the thoughts pass instead of identifying with them and holding on to them, we will give ourselves the best chance to perform our best. And this is an important thing to clarify about mindfulness and meditation. It's not about getting rid of all the thoughts and feelings. They will always be there in different amounts. It's about switching how we relate to them and to realize that we are not our thoughts and feelings. We are the observer of them. And it's easy to think that all of our thoughts is true, but the reality is that we think like 70,000 thoughts each day. All of them can't be true, and all of them can't be that important. Like I said before, most of them are about the past or about the future, because it's when we hold on to a thought that it creates a feeling inside of our body. For example, if we think that we're not good enough and we will not be able to perform, for example, it can create a feeling of anxiety and stress inside of our bodies. And in that way, it feels like this thought is true. And in that way, our thoughts create our reality. But if we learn and realize that we are not our thoughts, we won't be as bothered by them. This is why meditation is a practice of being present. It's not a performance about sitting there like Buddha and have no thoughts at all. I can be frustrated sometimes because it feels like I'm meditating wrong, because I still have a lot of thoughts going on and I can feel stressed or anxious or something. But the thing is that we can't meditate wrong. That's the thing. But the more we practice it, the easier it will be to let the thoughts go and to come back to our calm and peace. The third way it is helping me as an athlete is that when I can be more mindful and present in my body, I can move more consciously and I can actually give myself the best chance of correcting my movements and my technique in the way I intend to. Instead of just, for example, when we feel stressed in a competition, we just run and we do a jump without even thinking about what we do. And then we don't even remember or realize what we did wrong or right. And in that way, there is no chance that we can be able to change the movement in the way we want to. And this can happen, for example, on a competition where I feel a lot of pressure and my mind is starting to wander and I'm all over the place mentally. But then instead being able to come back to my body and to focus on how I actually move. An example of this was actually on the Folksam Grand Prix competition last summer, where I had already done 5 fouls and I had 1 more jump to go. And all of these thoughts came, that said that you won't be able to do this, you're gonna do another foul, such a waste of time, this competition sucks. All of those thoughts came, But I actually managed to gather myself and to choose what thoughts I wanted to listen on. And I had one focus, and I focused on, I can do this, I'm gonna do this. I can't do anything about how the competition has been so far. The only thing that I can do anything about is what I do now. And this jump, and to take step by step to get there, instead of already being in the outcome in my head. So I managed to come back to myself and to come back to my body, and I actually managed to do the best jump so far in the competition, and I took home the first place. And the reason why I could do that actually had a lot to do with me practicing mindfulness. That I was able in that moment to choose what thoughts I wanted to listen on, and not let these critical thoughts take over. Because if I did that, I would probably be too stressed and not do anything right. So when I'm more mindful, I can be more present in my body, and I can have more control over my body and my movements. The fourth way it helps me as an athlete is that it helps me to close off all the people and the world around me, so I can focus and put my energy on what I actually want to do, instead of focusing on everyone else's performances or what is going on around me. And sometimes it can be very challenging for me to close off everything that is going on around me. I am always reading the room and feeling other people's energies, and that can be very exhausting and take a lot of energy from what I actually want to do, which on trainings and competitions is my performances. But when I practice being present in myself, I can come back to myself again and again, and I can notice when my mind is starting to wander off, thinking about and noticing things around me, and instead come back to myself. Because the only thing I'm in control of anyways is my own performances. And the fifth way it is helping me as an athlete is that when I practice a lot of mindfulness and meditation, I can more easily connect to the compassionate and loving side of myself. And when I'm able to do this, I can move on from disappointments, which can be bad performances or that things didn't go the way we wanted it to go. I can move on from it faster. And it's in that way easier for me to be present with the belief about myself instead of my insecurities. For example, the competition last summer, I could choose to listen to my biggest supporter that said that you're gonna do this, you can do this, instead of the biggest critic. When I meditate, I give myself loving attention, and in that way I create and build a much stronger and better relationship with myself. And the more often I give myself this loving attention and practice self-love through meditation and mindfulness, the more easier it will be to connect to that part, which can be tough sometimes when things happens and hard things happens, when we don't feel good enough, or when those critical voices is very strong, because it is in those moments where we really need the loving and compassionate part of ourselves. And this is a constant practice. It's a constant mental practice. And that's why it's so important for me to continue to do these routines every day. Because in the past I was very hard on myself, and the critical voice in my head was taking over most of the times. But today it's much more easier for me to connect to and notice my biggest supporter. And my biggest supporter loves me, believes in me, cares about me, and know that everything will always work out for the best. And our minds is so powerful if we learn how to use it in the way we want to, instead of letting our mind using us. And I think that as much as we are practicing and training our physical body, we should also be training our mind. But there's a difference between the practices of the physical body and the mind. We train our physical body by pushing, lifting, running, but we train our minds by letting go, observe, relax, and just let it be, without forcing or pushing. And when we're used to always push and force in everything that we do, it can be very challenging from the start. But with practice comes result. And when we, through meditation and mindfulness, learn how to take control over our minds, that's how we can stand grounded and stable, whatever happens around us, both on the track and off the track. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a like. And I want to express my gratitude and thankfulness for all of you that is showing up here, watching my videos. I really love sharing and talking about things that I'm so passionate about with you guys. I appreciate you all. So take care of all of you, and I will see you next week.